Okay. I think we're all set up. Hello and welcome to Plugin Along, a stream dedicated to LOTRO plugins. Last time on Plugin Along, we started with a bug in the TitanBar changes that we've been working on. When I spent or gained currencies, TitanBar wasn't seeing that change. So we fixed that, then made so much progress that we were able to start deleting stuff, and that was very exciting. Today we're going to return to the maintenance file that I believe Duriel put together that explains how to add a currency to TitanBar, and we're going to keep on digging at it. What else can we simplify by hopefully consolidating code, deleting code, whatever, so that eventually adding a currency is maybe a one-line change. As always, feel free to jump in and chat with your thoughts and questions. And in the meantime, why is my keyboard doing something weird? I don't know. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Now, I've got myself positioned here in Helm's Deep. Let me know if the music's a little bit loud on your end. On my end, it's in the background, but it's also very stirring music, so it might not be quite the right music for coding. Okay, so TitanBar, if you're not familiar with it, is a bar that sits generally at the top of the screen and shows you heads-up information about stuff and things. By default, it looks like this, showing a few pieces of information, but last time we set up a custom save file that had a little bit of everything that is to do with wallets, I should say. So let me go find that real fast. Okay, so we had a save file called every currency on bar, not on radar. How do we get that in here? Well, we're going to come on into Documents, Lord of the Rings Online, Plugins. Nope, sorry, Lord of the Rings Online, Plugin Data. And we're going to go ahead and make sure our plugin is unloaded. Delete, well, don't need those. Delete the old value, copy in the saved save file, and then reload it. And then this will give us a TitanBar, as stated, where everything's on here. Although, it is supposed to be not on the radar. I guess it's always possible that I have reversed those two. I'm going to copy in the other one and see if that's better. Nope. I must not have saved it correctly. So what we want to do to go ahead and fix that is just drag these things over. We just want to give enough space because when you click on the radar, it covers up the TitanBar. That's not something you have to have if you set your Z level to be above all other LOTRO in-game components. That would actually fix the problem. But for whatever reason, the authors of LOTRO did not do that, and that's not a part of what we're trying to fix in this particular set of streams right here. That could be a thing that could be fixable if it is in fact a problem, but it's not what we're working on right now. But, and I'm trying not to get too distracted with other things. I want to stay focused on the currency issue. So we're going to go ahead and just move things over so there's enough room above the radar that we don't squash components. And then we're going to save that off. And we'll see what that looks like in just a moment. Cool. Okay, so when you're done, unload everything. If you're paranoid, go ahead and load it back up and confirm that everything looks good. Everything looks good. So unload it. And then we are on the right side of here, we're in our Lord of the Rings Online plugin data directory. And on the left side here, we are in our backup folder. And here's where we go ahead and say, well, that one did not work. So we're going to go ahead and copy over the new one. So, how do we know it does work? Well, delete the one from our game directory. TitanBar will create a new save file from defaults. We can see that here. Unload it. If we want to be paranoid about it, load it back up again. Now it's loading the saved version file that it just created from scratch. Awesome. Get rid of it, copy over the one from backup, and see that it is different in the way we want it to be different. Fantastic. We have all the currencies that we had on the bar. This is not all of them. I think one or two of them are, well, the money itself is in the wallet. Everything else looks like it is on the bar. Now that actually raises a different question. one we might get to in this process. But putting things on and off the bar is super annoying. In that, in order to interact with this dialog, for commendation, right-click a currency name to get its settings. With its misspelled, fantastic. Right-click commendation, and the only option here is on toolbar, on TitanBar, in tooltip, or don't show. That's the only setting for almost all of these. A few of them, LOTRO points, for instance, has a different setting because there's no API to know how many LOTRO points you have, so there's additional setting here for that. But what I would really love to see is this list expand to show you maybe checkboxes or something, radio buttons, really, location, TitanBar, tooltip, or none. And then another button to launch those options if there are any options. And again, there's almost never any other options. Let's go to Modes of Enchantment. Nope. Let's go to Fall Festival Tokens. Nope. So I would like to see, instead of right-clicking for more options, I would just like to see a little button that says more options, if there are any, for like the 2 that there are. Destiny? Nope. We just have a different API to get that than normal. Money? Nope. Yeah, so like LOTRO points might be the only one with more options. So for that one, I would like to see a little button saying more options, or even just inline it here in this wallet window, just make the window bigger. And then for the rest of them, yeah, just radio buttons for what it is. So you can see in a glance here which ones should be on there. Now, that's mostly a debugging thing. But see at a glance which ones are or are not, and don't have to open up a different thing to change it. Just click a radio button here to change it. That's sort of a dream that I have for simplifying this display. But this display needs to change a lot anyway. Okay, so we have a save file. We have a save file that we can easily restore if we need to. We have no more need for these 2 windows, so I'm going to go ahead and minimize them. And bring back our source control window. Okay, so at the end of the last stream, we made a quick change, which was to say there is an update currency function. Let's say we want to update the number of spring leaves. And that function was by default calling a function called getCurrency, which would scan through your entire wallet and say, oh, if this thing is what I'm looking for, then that's the currency, grab it from the wallet, return it. But we're also calling this from a callback handler, an event handler, for when that currency changes. The currency changed event handler wants to call this as well. And at that point, we know the quantity, and we want to just pass it on in. This also, hopefully, will address the issue where a currency goes to 0, because what was happening... I see a question in chat. I'll get to that in just a sec. So what was happening was we would get a call back saying this thing is going to 0. And then we would call this function, getCurrency, and getCurrency would go through the wallet and be like, I don't see it. And nothing else would happen. And so, maybe. So that's my concern. It might also be possible that we don't get a callback when something goes to 0. But what we saw before... and we have this in our to-do file, is there are item added and item removed callbacks instead. So it might be that when a currency goes to 0, we don't get a callback on that, but we do get a callback that the thing was removed from your wallet. So if we're not paying attention to those, I want to. Liz in chat says, will there ever be enough space to display all kinds of currency? Well, here's the thing. Most people probably do not care about all of the things that can go into a wallet, being able to track them on their TitanBar. As an example, on my character here, well, first of all, there's a scroll bar, so you can store basically unlimited amounts of things if you're willing to make people scroll. There's also a search, so if I search for TUR, I got tokens of further adventure. I was searching for turtle, but oh well, don't have any of those. But when we come into taxidermy, it is highly unlikely that anyone would ever meaningfully want to track 10-pound salmons in TitanBar. But what do I care? I say let them do it. So what I would actually like to see this wallet do is, instead of just a pre-selected list of things, I would just like to show you what is in your wallet, possibly by dividing into sub-categories like this if we can figure that out. Just iterate through your wallet, add it to a tree in here, and then we have a search box. So if I search for TUR, oh well, we don't have tokens of adventure. If I search for SCR, okay, cool, just ancient script. We have that same search box, and then just show people anything that's in their wallet and let them select it for being on the TitanBar. That's sort of my dream for this. I don't want to have a pre-selected list of currencies that then needs to be updated every time a currency is added to LOTRO. I just want to say, here's what's in your wallet. What do you want to track? Now, a problem with this is something like Destiny, which is technically in your wallet, but which is accessed differently. In fact, do we have Destiny? We do not. The Destiny system is a layer on top of the wallet. You can get there from the wallet with the perks button, but this Destiny value, we have to go through a different part of the API to get it. So there's always going to be some code that has to handle exceptions to the list. So we need anything that's in your wallet and some other things. LOTRO points are another great example. LOTRO points aren't in here in your wallet. They're not in your Destiny points. You can't get them through the API. So that's why the LOTRO point option here allows you to manually set the number of LOTRO points you have. I've set it to 123. And then from there on, we can track when you get LOTRO points. Awesome. But we do not see a chat announcement that you've spent LOTRO points in the LOTRO store. So that number is only going to go up, never go down until you go and synchronize the two values again. So there might be some limited functionality available for LOTRO points. Maybe if you're busy collecting them on an alt, you've created a character you're going to run through Arid or collect LOTRO points. Then that'd be nice to have as a heads up, so you can be like, okay, I'm going towards a goal. This is helping me there. But it's if you're on a character where you actually acquire and spend LOTRO points, that value's going to get out of sync real fast. But anything that is in your wallet, I want to handle in that manner, where we just show you a list of things in your wallet. Maybe there'd be an option for common versus all, or usual versus some sort of thing where we kind of pre-filter out all the things that are really unlikely. Like, you probably aren't going to be tracking 10-pound salmons. You might be tracking easy fish, and certainly being able to put everything under festival would be nice. Festival tokens, where you might be tracking impossible fish and puny fish and easy fish. So being able to have a list of categories here, that also sounds very attractive to me. Cool. Okay. Yes, I got there. It says you could have the collapsible/expandable sections and search and filter all the UI. Absolutely. Really, if I could just have the wallet window, but wide enough to where I can also have radio buttons to say where is the thing on the bar, on the tooltip, or not displayed, will be like 90% of the way there, or more. Cool. So, I asked this question at the tail end of the last stream, and it's a good question. Okay. We can see item added is being used for backpack. Cool. Show hide backpack infos, backpack, and I think we're in the bag infos window. Cool, okay. And item removed. Backpack, backpack. Fascinating. There's a workaround here, possibly for a bug that is over a decade old, but probably works. I don't know.
That is not showing up on screen.
Oh. I'm being told that I forgot to actually show the search that I'm doing. So yes, we're doing the search for the item added, item removed. And these are only there for backpack stuff. Backpack. Awesome. So, item removed. Let's go check out the API documentation just for a brief moment and confirm to ourselves that there is a wallet, and that wallet has item added and item removed. Yes. So, the Midsummer Festival is coming up, and it's really easy to spend down to 0 tokens there, which is why I have a little note here in the to-do function. Test Midsummer, spend down to 0, see what happens. I'm very curious if we get an item change callback for something that goes to 0 or if it goes straight to removed. But in the meantime, let's go on over to functions control 670. Okay. This is the player wallet. And for each player currency, we are doing stuff. We're tracking destiny differently. And then track when items are added or removed from the wallet. Now, what are we going to do with that? I don't actually know yet. Where is update currency? Update currency is in functions. All right, that's a good place. Update currency. Function currency added. Sender args. And then function currency removed. Sender args. Cool. I don't have anything to do with these yet, but as a developer, I would like to know when they're happening. So we're going to go ahead and add some debug outputs here. So this is wallet currency added, and we're going to go ahead and just do a dump of the sender and args values here, so we can just see what's coming in. And I'm hoping that's going to include the currency name, probably almost certainly localized to the standard one. So I might like spring leaves or anniversary tokens, and then maybe even a how many are there in that initial add, so we don't have to go back to the wallet and say, hey, for this thing, how many do you have? And we'll do the same thing in currency removed. So when it happens, we'll see something there. And then we just need to hook these up. So we have the wallet, player get wallet. Sure, local wallet equals player get wallet. Sounds great. So we're going to go ahead, because we want to use it in a couple different places, just hoist that out. And then we're going to say wallet.item added equals. Now we could use the add callback functionality. We should do that for consistency. Add callback, and this is going to be for wallet. We're adding item added, and for that we'll be passing the currency added. All right, does that look reasonable? I'm going to event callback. Sounds great. And we'll do the same thing here. For item removed, we're going to go ahead and go with currency removed. Okay, so that's set up. We're not ready. That's not ready for prime time. That's not ready to actually solve a problem, but it is ready to be investigated as a what's going on here kind of thing. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and check what happens when we load that on up. Cool. So, coming on back to source control, we're going to go ahead and do a couple of commits. Initial commit to not double look up currency quantity. Cool. And that's going to be this one up here. And in functions control, that's going to be just here. Awesome. And then we're going to go ahead and do, I want to commit this so I don't have to worry about separating it out from future changes that we're going to do today. Let's go ahead and put some to-dos on there, though. So just so we can find it. To do. Make this do something meaningful instead of just logging. Cool. And let's put that down here as well. This is fine, actually. Okay. Yeah, I have no problem with that. This is the thing. So added debug statements for wallet item added, item removed. Cool. And that's just going to be a for now thing. That gives us a clean working directory, which means it's going to be a little bit easier to roll things back today if we make mistakes, and I am prepared to make several. Okay, so that was our to-do item. So in the Midsummer Festival, that's a thing that I need to do. And in here, we are now starting to pay attention to these, but we're not doing anything meaningful. Awesome. Okay, let's go back to the TitanBar maintenance file and look at the add currency. Now this file has actually changed quite a bit already because the add currency section used to be much longer. So we've made some good steps reducing it, but there's already a fair number of steps. So what we want to do is kind of refresh our memory. What steps are there and what can we do about that? Okay, so a big part of this first section is the image ID of the currency. These are stored in TB resources with 2 S's, interesting. Oh no, that's been renamed, I guess. Awesome. Rename. Stop bothering me. There we go. Awesome job, probably Duriel. Okay, we're going to come on in here and we're going to see add the item to the currency, search for a global wallet item. Can do. Okay, so we're here. So this list of, I'm going to say approximately 28 items is just the lookup of the icon ID associated with each item. But it doesn't have to live there. It could be consolidated somewhere else. So what else do we have? There's a lot of steps here for getting this value. And I think it's a reasonable question of what's the point of this? If you have the item in your wallet, we can get the image ID from the item in your wallet. So the only purpose of these image IDs here is if it's not already in your wallet and you want to track it.
It's raining outside.
Hi, did you come in because it's raining? Yeah, you did. Okay.
Through the rain.
Well, you want to come over here? No? You want to look at that new box I got? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, replace the name and the last entry of the new currency, replace the hex value of the new icon value, and here's how to get it. So, this is bridging the problem between, oh, someone says good day. Hello there. This is bridging between, we don't have it in our wallet yet, but we want to track it. Once it's in our wallet, there's an icon ID associated with that, and we can just use that. I am actually a little curious. Okay, this is a new thing to test. Additional test. A character who does not have a currency adds it to TitanBar. Then they get some of that currency. what happens? Theory, nothing, because we're not using the item added callback to attach a handler to the quantity changed event. Okay. Someone's come back to work in the reward track. I just wanted to mention that we've been doing delvings because so much extra progress on the reward track. Just doing that with Little Redhead earlier on her stream. We're already past number 50, so if I was willing to just absolutely trash my inventory, I could get the Slate Sherboa. I think I'll hold off on that though. I have 50 spaces, but do I want to spend 50 spaces? This is a question. Okay, so that's my theory. If a character doesn't have a thing, then we're not going to be able to attach an item changed or quantity change handler to it. And since we're not paying attention to item added, we're probably not putting that in there. That being said, I think TitanBar has at least one loop where it just tries to do things every second. And maybe there is something here. Run these functions that start up only once because if TitanBar is loaded with Ngram, plugin manager, some controls do not update properly. Again, there's some comments in here that make me think that that comment is like 10 years old. It might even be true. One-timer update. One-timer and all-timer. All-timer run these functions all the time. So behind the scenes in TitanBar, something is doing something every second. So detective wallet size have changed. If get size does not equal player wallet size, then load the player wallet. So this is their answer to detecting new things in the wallet is load player wallet. So I think, okay. New theory, except all-timer update will see the size of the wallet change and call whatever. Load player wallet. This makes me cry inside. Not that it's doing it. It makes me cry inside if the only reason they're doing that is because they couldn't be bothered to respond to the item added, item removed handlers, which would replace everything in here. Okay, so that's actually a good point, though. If we go into functions, CTR? Yeah, no, functions. Let's go ahead and see all-timer update. Oh, where is that? FRM main. All-timer update code to handle wallet size changing. Yeah. If those functions work correctly, and we'll be able to test that pretty well in Midsummer, then doing this once a second instead of never makes me sad. The rest of it is they're trying to detect screen size resolution changes. And Thurlor had a technique for doing that that didn't involve polling once a second. Which makes it feel like we could take advantage of that as well. And at that point, you don't need to be doing this all the time. Oh, interesting. What is show BT? Show both server and real. Show server time. Awesome. So they're also using it to update the game clock.
That's fine. That's fine. It doesn't feel like it should be happening here. It feels like the control that is showing the clock should be doing that. And then we should kill the all timer. It sounds like the plot of a movie. We must kill the all timer.
Okay. So, that being said, okay, so that's my new theory, is that nothing would happen except a second later, or within 1 second, we are going to see the size of the wallet changed, and therefore process that new function. Now, what does load player wallet do? Load player wallet is where we are doing this thing where we hook in the handlers. And we're storing the handler for each currency name in a table, so we know that we have added this thing. So we're only adding new ones. Now, we're not removing old ones, but that's not a problem we're solving right here. And so yes, if a new currency goes in, then within 1 second, we do expect to hook in a new callback for the quantity changed on that currency because of this all timer. Cool. Someone's talking about doing delvings in a group, and it's like, well, as long as you're talking to a solo or a duo, it's kind of a small group. Okay, neat. So,
I'm guessing they don't know you're streaming.
That being said, so we are going to be able to track when an item is added to your wallet. So really, it's just to have an image when you have a 0 here. That's the point of this. And do I have any of those? I do. I have 0 Central Gondor silver pieces and probably 0 of the, I don't know, is there like an Amroth? Amroth silver pieces. I've got 34 of those. I can't get to Amroth. Why do I have those? It's fine. Yeah. So we're at the point where I have 0 Central Gondor silver pieces. So for testing purposes, we can show that we have 0 of these. We wouldn't be able to find the image ID in our wallet, but we would be able to use this image ID until then. I am mentally contemplating, is there a benefit to kind of just having a file of a bunch of different image IDs somewhere just to support having a friendly icon there before you have something added to your wallet? Okay, I don't know. What else do we have? Adding a new currency. Oh, sorry, it's all of this. I haven't eliminated as much as I wanted to. Same thing with the text for the localization. The only thing we're providing these for here is before they're in your wallet. Once they're in your wallet, we can get the name of it from the wallet. Agatha says those silver pieces probably came from Belfloss housing quests, by the way. That's plausible. I might have knocked those out one day just to get it out of my quest log, and or if there was a deed associated with that. So thank you for solving that mystery, Agatha. Belfloss housing is very plausible. And since there's no housing in Central Gondor that we know of. Okay. So, the localization for these things. Adding the currency in main. I'm gonna shut down some of these things. Maybe even the to-do file. Unpin that, get rid of it. Okay, in main, search for player align equals 1. Can do. So this is a listing of the order in which these should be shown in the UI. In the short term, we need this. In the medium term to long term, I would like there to be a default list of things to show in the UI, and then that can be added to by a user. So I'm going to not do anything with that right now. Not in chat says hello, hello. Watch me be mystified by things. Okay, search for wallet currency controls. Sure, let's do that. We have a section here of wallet currency controls. I have a problem with half of these things because the tooltip is always annoying. It's just LOTRO points, these are your LOTRO points. Mithril coins, these are your mithril coins. I'm going to say I would like to do something about that sooner rather than later. Yule Festival token, these are your Yule Festival tokens. So I would like to make a function that, based off of the thing, returns this thing. And for that, we would like a tooltip, a currency tooltip format string. So we're going to make a currency tooltip. And we're going to say that's equal to something, but we're expecting that this is going to be passed into a dot format call. So we're going to call it currency tooltip format string. Just so when you're looking at it, you know you need to shove that into a format. And in English, this is going to be, these are your whatever. And then we want a function somewhere that will use that. Where are these tooltips used? Create tooltip when using the thing. Awesome. That's in functions. That's a fine place for this function. Function get current, what did we call this thing? Get currency tooltip. And to use this, we are going to use the internal key. Okay, so key. Great. And so what we want to do is local format string equals, and we're going to look up this thing. Now this thing needs to exist in each of the localization files. And then local tooltip equals string.format of the format string and whatever. And in that case, we need this tooltip. So we can just pass in L of the key, because that key is what we're using here. Awesome. So L of key. And then we're going to return tooltip. So to make that work, we need to go ahead and make sure that this format string is in each of the language files, although we're not going to test against the other ones right now. We do want to make sure we don't break them. And then we're going to use our limited knowledge of German and French to construct one of these things. Now, there could be a basic flaw here that maybe a single a format string would not be sufficient to handle the grammatical complexities. That is entirely possible. So what we want to do is actually come into maybe a separate buffer so we can play around a little bit.
And we're going to go ahead and paste that in. But we're going to go ahead and delete everything we don't care about here. So wallet, currency, controls, great. Don't care about anything before it. Certainly don't care about anything after it. And what we do actually care about is tooltip. So what I want to do is take just the tooltips and put them somewhere else. Fantastic. Your whatever, your whatever, your whatever. At least I'm assuming that's German for your, because it sure looks like if you asked someone to spell the English word your, and they didn't actually know English. Cool. That's very consistent. And if you remove that, you just get a bunch of names of currencies. Awesome. So what we're going to do is take this on back. And in the German, we're going to say your thingamajiggy. There we go. And then let's do the same thing to French. In fact, we're going to be a little bit more judicious in what we copy out in the first place. We're going to come on in to Sublime Text here. And we only, again, care about tooltip stuff. So we're just going to copy that. Get rid of that. Okay, we can see one of them didn't get translated properly. The bingo badges. We can see right away has the wrong formatting string. And this is a copy-paste error that's so easy to do when you have so much copy and pasting. So that should have been this thing that I should not try to pronounce. But you know what? I am curious about the pronunciation.
Ce sont vos jetons d'anniversaire.
That. Fantastic. So if we had plugged in the bingo badges in there, the French version of that.
Ce sont vos insignes de bingo.
Yes.
Insigne de bingo.
Perfect. So we are going to eliminate this one from consideration because it's wrong. And we are then going to look at the rest of these. And we can see they all start with the same French phrase and then are followed by the name of the currency in French. Can we convince ourselves that that is true? Well, we see LOTRO points in French there. And if we hover over it, well, that's interesting. There's some inconsistencies here. They're doing singular versus plural in some places. So mithril coins, they have mithril coin as the name. Is that good, though? Interesting. Yeah, let me come in here. Modes of enchantment. Mithril coins. Is there anything I only have one of? Small apple. Okay, what if I have 48? Scraps of. Puny fish. Okay, that's not a consistent rule set here. How about anything else? Anything else I only have one of? There we go. 4-pound salmon, I've got 9 of them. 50-pound salmon. Okay, so the wallet isn't consistently pluralizing or singularizing based off of the number of the thing you have. Not says which programming language is used. Now, this is Lua, which is a scripting language. You can find out more information about it at lua.org. And the version embedded in Lord of the Rings Online, and this is very important if you're looking at Lua embedded in different games, they may have different versions. So we're looking at a subset of Lua 5.1 that is embedded within Lord of the Rings Online, and that's what we can use to write our plugins. So any features that exist in Lua 5.2 or beyond that were introduced in Lua 5.2 or beyond will not be available to us here. But if it's a 5.1 or before, and it's a part of the subset, then yes, we can do it. So I keep a handy link to this 5.1 manual here because that's exactly what I need to care about. This is a scripting language that is used by other games as well. It's not just Lord of the Rings Online that uses Lua. So if you are interested in plugins in general, you may find it useful to come up to date on something like Lua. But really, the best language to learn is the one that helps you solve the problem you have at hand. So if you're looking to do a plugin or really a mod for a game like the Planet Crafter, which Little Redhead and I are kind of obsessed with at the moment, they don't use Lua. So while learning Lua is useful, it's not useful for that particular problem. But it is a neat little language. I enjoy many things about it. Okay, so we have the question of, do we have a care about plural versus singular? And the answer is, we need it. We need that plural versus singular to be correct according to what's in the wallet. There is a TitanBar command that spits out everything it sees in your wallet, and I wish I could remember what it was so I could use it without having to go find out. Command. PW, print wallet. There we go. Oh, that's funny. Wallet window, table index is nil. Why?
Arthur's posted something in chat.
Hey, Arthur, thank you. /TitanBar PW. You knew it off the top of your head better than I did. Okay, what's up with the wallet window and why is it giving me an error? So we're going to come on into the wallet window.lua 227. That threw on save. When was this? It was just now. Did I click a save button? Oh, I must have. What was it? Was it Mythal Coin? LOTRO points? Table index is nil. Why would that be? What's wcur? Wcur is... Where does wcur get set? Get set there. It's a menu item. Okay. And that's here. So one of these things is wrong, which is actually a problem that I'd like to solve by not having all these keys hard-coded here. What is up with that? Oh man, in order to fix this problem, I might actually have to... What if it was something else? How did I make that happen? All right, we're going to come back to that for a second. TitanBar PW. Okay, so the thing here is what we're matching against. And we do see a slight problem in that I have too many of them. But we can see like delving writ, for instance. In the wallet UI, we see it as plural, but we can't take that as writ
We have to actually go by what's going to match in the wallet itself. And these are generally singular, not marks of the angle, but mark of the angle. And then in the UI, it gets pluralized. So that might be a reason why we deal with having tooltips and not, is these are your anniversary tokens, but in here it is anniversary token. And pluralizing things in English is sometimes as simple as putting an S on the end of it, but not always. And in English, you could rewrite this, so instead of it is your saying these are your anniversary token, it could be like anniversary token display or something. Man, that was annoying. Mithril coin, Yellow Festival token, Yellow Festival tokens. Yeah, and a lot of these you could just slap an S on the end of it and be happy. Though I see the shard entry is just these are your shard, which, you know what? Fair enough. But of course, yeah, the problem is when you have combinations, it's not token of hid bolts, it's tokens of hid bolt. And then you say, okay, slap an S on the first word, and then you're parsing it to find word boundaries. And then it's not even right, because these are not your Amroth's silver piece. These are your Amroth silver pieces. So I think you either have to accept that none of the tooltips are going to be pluralized, which I'm fine with, or you have to accept that you just don't know how to make it plural. Yeah, gift givers is brands instead of gifts givers is brand.
All right, new plan. Break with tradition. Instead of these are your blah, this will be blah display. LOTRO point display. Actually, I would like to mark that it's from the wallet. So what I would like is to make use of this value here, L of wallet, and be able to say L of wallet this. Is it as simple as that? Maybe. But the point of that is we can change this format string around in here and affect how everything does it. So what we're going to do, we're just going to start with this and call it good. Cool. So in functions, we're going to get that, we're going to format it with that, we're going to return, and we're going to call it good. So in those places where we are calling get currency tooltip, where we were not calling it, we now want to. So destiny tooltip. Really? Oh, word boundary. Ha. Okay, we can see 26 of these being called here. That sounds about right. Well, I'm not happy with it, but it sounds correct. So what we're going to want to come in is replace that with a call to get currency tooltip. And so that's going to be get currency tooltip of destiny points. Okay. If that's the case, then we then have to say, okay, anywhere else this is getting used? Hopefully the answer is no. The answer is no, at which point we can delete it from the English, German, and French. Okay, let's take a look at what that looks like. Destiny points are over here. Wallet, destiny point. That's pretty bare bones. I don't know. What is that enough? Wallet destiny point. All right. In English, I'm going to change that. Wallet display for currency destiny point. Kind of makes it too long. What if it was just for... something like that. Words are hard. Wallet, currency, destiny point. That seems worse. I don't like that comma. Wallet currency, colon, yeah, we're gonna go with that. That'll be the final answer for now. Now, if this is not a satisfactory thing, is there a better solution? And the answer is we could go back to having a lookup for each thing. But instead of a separate name, I would much rather have a tooltips table indexed by this value here. Is that maybe a better thing to do right now? Instead of just deleting all these tooltips, we could refactor this. Let's say that is better. Let's say. Okay, so we're going to discard that. We're going to discard that deletion. We're going to discard that deletion. We're going to come back. We're going to leave the format string for a minute. Are we? We're going to leave it for a minute. So instead, what I want to do is come in here. So we have the points, the controls. And LOTRO points control. These, I don't like these comments. So I want this to be wallet currency controls. Name must match value in must match name of item in wallet. Let's start with that. And the other thing is, let's separate out the tooltips here. So what we want is a table. Might make it up here to start. So this will be wallet currency tooltips equals. Now, once you've got it created here, these could actually be entries into it to keep them co-located with each other. In which case, that would be wallet currency tooltips of LOTRO points equals this. That might be a little bit friendlier on the file diff as we're looking here. We'll see this entry here gets replaced by that, but it's still in line. So yeah, we'll go ahead and kill off now that format string. We're gonna say nope to that and nope to that. We'll come back to it later maybe. And instead, our function for actually spitting out the tooltip will just be return, and we'll return wallet currency tooltip of key, or could not find tooltip for key. All right, what's wrong with this? How do you like that? That seems better. Okay, let's go ahead and unload that and load this. Cool. These are your seals, these are your medallions. Something's not working. Oh right, we're not actually using it yet. So, yeah, look at all those error messages that are spitting out. Attempt to index a global wallet currency tooltips. Yep, I am attempting to do that. Nil value, functions 172. But is it a nil value? I don't think it's a nil value. Functions 172. Okay, it thinks that is nil, which is not great. But you know what? We can just say, hey, let's not worry about that right now. Stick it forcibly into the global table and see how we feel about that. That worked fine. Okay, concerning that the lookup didn't work. Oh, because I'm calling the function for destiny. Cool. But I actually am only doing it for LOTRO points. Perfect. Everything's working great. Let's come on into functions. We want to go ahead and kill that and start using get currency tooltips in a couple more places. So destiny points, let's go ahead and fix how these things are. Now, I think life will be a little bit easier if I do a multi-edit in a tool like Sublime Text. So I'm going to bring Sublime Text on in. Anyone who's got a bingo card for me at home can mark off Sublime Text. We're going to go ahead and find anything that has tooltip in it, kill that, and replace the L with wallet currency tooltips. And that is all. Bring it back in to your source. And we're good. At that point, we have the same problem over here, where we want to replace the uses of the tooltips. And so we're going to go ahead and again hoist that out to a separate place so we can do it without affecting anything we don't mean to. And find any of those tooltips here. Same thing, eliminate them. Going back to the L. Oh, actually, we're going to go one step further, but that's okay. Get currency tooltip and end parentheses. So that's what we want to do here. And we can tell right away if we have a syntax error with all that multi-editing. We did not noticeably. These are your skirmish marks. These are medallions. These are your seals. Awesome. So all of that appears to be working. I'm just going to hover over all of them. Make sure we didn't spit out some sort of an error message. Awesome. Now one problem I have is that it doesn't actually work when you're hovering over the icon. It just works when you're hovering over the number. In the vein, I'm not getting too distracted. I'm going to get distracted. What's up with that? If we go into Wallet Control Factory and we search for tooltip, label has the mouse move show tooltip win. But the icon does not, probably. So mouse move here. We tell the label that we've left, and then we say let the toolbar, TitanBar know. Okay. We have an if dragging, and then we just don't have an else. Well, that's easy. Like, I think these code. What is code? Sure. Code can go into the icon. There we go. So I don't particularly find this tooltip that useful, but I do feel like if you're going to show the tooltip here, then you might as well show the tooltip over that as well. And like the whole point is, if I don't recognize that icon, I want to hover over that icon and say, what is that? I don't want to hover over the number next to the icon. Okay, that seems fine. Let's go ahead and assume that that was completely fine. Make tooltip show up over icon as well. That's in the Wallet Control Factory. We make sure we have the code because for now the old code and the new key are different. Someday they will not be. And then in here we went ahead and spaced it out vertically, putting the if and the else on different lines, and we just added in that show tooltip win, and we're good. So we're going to go ahead and commit that in. Okay, little thing that was just annoying me that I wanted to deal with. Okay, so we can see that there's a mix of places where currency is and places where currency is not. And that's fine, because once this is replaced with a more generic version, the more generic version will go somewhere, everything else goes somewhere else. But we can see we've fixed that, and what we want to do is replicate this change across the other two files as well. So we have wallet currency tooltips. I don't like that this is going to be replicated in each of the language files. It feels like it would be nicer. Well, it's language specific. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to worry about it right now. But it might be nicer to have a better home for that. Okay, so coming into German, we are going to go ahead and copy this off. And once we're here, We're going to use the English one as sort of our template. Actually, I'll just copy that phrase right there. Find all of the tooltips, delete them, go to the beginning of that line, and replace with wallet currency. I have accidentally selected an S at the end of that. That will not work. Now I have 26 selections. Excellent. And we're ready to bring that back in. Oh, I deselected my selection. That was foolish of me. There we go. Nope. That's why I didn't have a selection. That was English. We're going to come back into German, where my selection still exists, and paste. There we go. Okay, and the last thing I want to do, same thing, but French. So let's go ahead and select all of that. Come on back in to this file here. And again, we're going to go ahead and find anything that is underscore tooltip. Delete the tooltip, come back to the beginning of the line, and replace it with wallet currency tooltips. There we go. We'll come back into the French file, replace all 26 instances of that, and we're good. We're going to come back in to the game and reload the plugin, make sure we didn't make any syntax errors and all of that. Cool. So ideally, that probably works for all of them. It doesn't solve the problem I was thinking, which was I don't like them. I like that we can identify what that thing is by hovering over it. I don't like that it's a pretty manual process. I don't actually have a good answer for that. Actually, do I have an answer for that? Hang on. I didn't have an answer for that. But now that I'm thinking about the problem, I might be able to find an answer to that. Okay, so stars of merit. If I was looking for that, oops, hang on a sec. Let me set that up. Okay. Let's do a quick search for stars of merit. Okay, that's in items that I was looking for. And the other one I wanted was just LOTRO data. I don't want platinum. Okay, let's look for star of merit. It's a whole bunch of those. I don't want them to be give ID though. Okay, item table, no, that's not what I like. There we go. Paper items and items. I feel like I am doing something wrong, but that the plural values for these terms is probably a part of the LOTRO companion data set somewhere. And if it is, that might be something that could be automated in a way that we're not doing right now. But we're going to say that's too much trouble for right now. Okay, so the step here of adding a new currency, finding that in the different language files and adding it to the end of the list, we are going to say that that is currently necessary if we want people to be able to add something to TitanBar before they have it in their wallet. And I don't feel strongly about that particular point, but it is the current behavior. Things get simpler if you have to have something before you can track it. But I have a feeling that there's enough people who play enough festivals where they can spend down to 0 pretty easily, where that could be annoying.
Well, if we relaxed it, if we saved off that in a save file somewhere, it would just be that you have to have had it in your wallet while TitanBar is running at some point. Then we can save that we saw the thing, what the name was, what the ID was. That's fine. If you want to have never seen it before and add it in, that's where this comes in.
Okay, adding the currency into main.
Well, let's commit what we just did before we make
Mistakes that we need to worry about. Okay, so wallet currency controls. I feel like I'm making the merge harder on myself. I feel like these comments are also not very helpful. Really, the LOTRO points control is being controlled by the thing called LOTRO points with the text of LOTRO points. And it's not even the LOTRO points control because this is a must match the wallet. All right, I'm gonna do an experiment here. We're gonna come into Sublime Text here, and we're just going to say, hey, these comments, first of all, don't need them. Second of all, anything that's a currency tooltip, we're going to do in a different location. Do I like the look of that better? What do we think about this? So, plus side, it looks cleaner to me to have it like this. But a downside, it's not immediately obvious if something is missing. That is, if it exists in one of these and not the other. And that lack of co-location does not bring me joy. Okay, what if we backed it up a step, though? What if we did it like this? Is it more obvious if one of them is missing a tooltip? I feel like it is. Is it more obvious what to do if you want to say copy Midsummer? You copy both these lines, you add it to the bottom, you change all the things so that they're basically the same except they say the new thing. Yes. I feel like that makes me happier. And it doesn't take any more vertical space because we're getting rid of those comments that I feel are unnecessary. So it would look like this. It's a large change, and I'm not sure we actually get anything out of it. Other than I feel better. I think it's a large change for something that I'm hoping I'll just delete. Okay, so adding the currency in main. We already took a look at that. This is how we order things in the UI. And again, I'd like to have there be something like this for default values. For when someone has a brand new save file, we can put some intelligent things on there, depending on if you're free peoples or monster player. But otherwise, I think this is going to stop becoming a maintenance thing. This needs to be moved into the, you don't have a save file, so we're going to have some defaults section. And then this goes away. Okay. Note to self. This section should move into settings initialization function if you have no save file. Okay, we're going to have that. Okay, add custom currency stuff to functions import control. If your wallet currency needs to do something special, do that here. If you're just showing the amount of your currency, you do not need to do this. Awesome, we've already updated that. Add currency in TV resources.lua. This is the image ID. Okay, for each point after this, search through the files, and every time an existing currency are listed, add the new currency. All right, let's go look at functions.lua and see what we have to see. Okay, well, we actually already have one right here. So let's take a look at show tooltip win. All right, we were going to commit this. Changed how tooltips are stored to use the same primary key. Okay, that is this. That is, oh, not that. Well, it will be. It will be a part of this. Okay. We have this. We have get the currency tooltip. We are using the currency tooltip. We're going to take everything but that last comment there. That does not go with this. Okay, all that's great. We're going to commit that for a minute. Added note for how to implement function. Cool. Updated maintenance notes. And added testing notes for removing currencies. Okay, we're back to a place where we can freely make mistakes. So let's do some of that. Okay, so we're in show tooltip win. And this is a place that does a lot of this, what looks like the same thing over and over. So what we want to do is, first of all, get a sense of what are we doing here. Okay, first of all, there's a thing there that's not even in use. We're not going to worry about that for right now. But let's go ahead and pull this out to a Sublime text buffer where we can just pay attention to this. And we're going to come in here to anything that has get currency tooltip, and we're going to copy that off because we don't care about any of the rest of them. Ooh, hang on a sec. All those places where the last thing has gone to the next line, not a fan. Let's fix that. Okay, that looks better. Now we can go ahead and do the get currency tooltip trick to pull that line and just the other ones on out. This is just the currencies. Everything else is over here. So we could see bag info, player location, game time, vault, shared storage, something called bank, which is possibly replaced with vault. I don't know. And then day and night. Okay, cool. I don't care about those. What I care about is currency because we're staying on focus. Our laser is not that tightly focused, but we gotta not do too much else. So what we want is to figure out what's the same and what's different here. So if I did a search for this, am I going to find however many things? And so what I want to do is, okay, first of all, just do a quick count. We can see 26 regions. Awesome. So the first thing is, there's 26 of this first line. Great. There are 25 of the second line, which means LOTRO points, H is different. Everything else is the same. Okay. Why is that? What's different here? Hold left with to move the control. Okay. Right click to open it. It says left click to open the options window. Cool. So we need a custom height for this because it has another line of text. Okay, we can do that. Delirium says, perhaps bank is the items you can barter at a vault keeper to not go over the 10k gold. I don't know. It is, there's something historical in TitanBar that was referring to bank as a thing that you could put on your TitanBar to track, right? I'm guessing that was replaced by vault. No data was found. Cool. But I don't actually know what that was. So, actually, I'm curious though. If we search for bank, there's a function called load player bank, no longer used. If show bank, these are no longer used. Like things regarding bank were just kind of partially removed, but not entirely. Show hide bank. Okay. Just comment out whole swaths of it. This is a thing that you can get in the habit of really easily if you don't have source control for your project as part of the life cycle of your project. Because you can be like, oh, I want to get rid of this, but what if I need it again in a week? And the answer is you just restore it from source control. But if you're not using a lot of source control, or if you're not comfortable with it in your setting for whatever reason, then this is the worst version of source control. Okay, bank is not there. Oh, we're in languages here. Bank window. I don't know, but it's been removed, and we're not going to worry about this. But cleaning up the code to remove player bank, player mount, player pet, whatever, instead of just having it commented out, that could be a thing someone could do. Maybe it'll be me, but not right now. Okay, so what we want is to not worry about that right now. But whatever it was, it doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so our height. Our height is dependent. It's 65 except for that place where it isn't. Okay, we can deal with that. So let's actually do two things. Let's collect all of this together. So where were we? I think we were in functions. We're just gonna get ourselves back here. Awesome. So what we're gonna do is set h equal to 65. H equals 65 if to show equals LOTRO points, then h equals, I think it was 80 end. Yeah, LOTRO points was 80. Okay. At that point, we actually don't need that anywhere else here. And we can actually just replace that with nothing. Okay, now that actually doesn't solve the problem for the rest of these, and okay, we're going to do something different than what I was just doing. What I want to do is reorder stuff here. I want to reorder these so that everything that with a currency tooltip is first, and then everything else is after that. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and shards, skirmish marks, mythical coins, YT. We're going to go ahead and move that up. Cool. Might be easier if I move this down until I find something that it isn't. Awesome. Cool. We got some more of these. And we're going to come on up to here. Okay. So ideally what we've just done is consolidated those. We can tell if we did it correctly by copying these out. Oh, see these places where we've... I'm going to fix that at the same time. Those places where the EIT3 has gone off the row, we're just going to go ahead and bring that back. Where we're going to delete those eventually anyway. And it'll make it easier to line them up for deletion in the meantime. Great. Okay, so now we're going to take all of these that have the create tooltip. We're just going to copy them into a Sublime Text buffer and use that to demonstrate that we have found 18 of these. No, we found 26. Okay, the display just hadn't updated correctly. Oh, it was 18 characters, of course. So 26 regions, great. That's all of them. So we've collected these together at the top, and then we're going to go ahead and commit that, so we can go ahead and start working with them all as a group. And so what we've done is bag info. Yeah, these are two different things. It's fine. Is it fine? It's not fine. Hang on. Don't do more than you mean to. Okay. New plan. So, bag info, player location, game time, vault, shared storage, bank, and day and night have all moved to the bottom. And that's all we're doing with this commit. Reordered. Show tooltip to move currencies to the top. Awesome. And then we're going to come back into our source. Oh wait, where'd it go? Well, I closed it like a foolish person, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to go ahead and bring those back. Okay, so now all of our EIT3s look like they're on the end. Great. So we're going to come back in, and we can confirm what we just did using this is beyond compare, and make sure it all looks reasonable. And I think it does. Combined lines that had been previously split. Okay. Now, all of these do something with height. And if I was going to affect more than just the currencies, I would put more things into the table I'm about to do. And we can do that later. But for now, we want a single place where all of our currencies are happening. And for that, we want local tooltip window height custom height equals a new table, and in that table, LOTRO points has an entry of 80, and that is all. And what we're going to do is say H. Where is this used anyway? Oh, it's just a global, of course. We're going to say H equals 65 if tooltip window custom height of to show, then, oh wait, no, we can do that, equals tooltip window custom height of to show or 65. So we're going to go ahead and just run with that, and then for the rest of these lines, we can kill H equals whatever. In fact, I might be able to automate the killing of that just slightly. Really? Great. Get rid of that. And we just want to make sure we don't move beyond the currencies. There we go. Okay, so that's the first consolidation. And we can actually commit that as is. Okay, non-currencies. And up here, currencies. Let's go ahead and load up TitanBar after we've made all those changes. Make sure we didn't make any issues, Oh, right. The LOTRO point also needs that change if we're going to do that. Just going back to where we were before, the LOTRO points, fixing that icon mouse over, sorry, the mouse over for the text didn't change it for the icon. So the label mouse move there, but if we're at the icon mouse move didn't get that. Great, and we have that. Let's go ahead and do that while I'm thinking about it. Okay, these are LOTRO points. Great. I don't like that the window kind of gets destroyed and recreated when you switch between them, but it's subtle, and I think it's fine for right now for what it is. Ideally, that would be part of the mouse over the whole control instead of each individual item in the control. But they are concerned with the dragging thing, which again, they're doing that in the individual things instead of because they didn't make a control to hold these things that could then be dragged around. Each individual, they're cobbling together something very weird here, and I don't like it, but it's fine. Extend LOTRO points tooltip over icon. Cool. Okay, the one we were actually talking about was this one, where we removed all of those height entries. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and say parameterized height value for tooltip win for currencies. And did we do correct here? We can see the height looks great. Okay. What's next? How do we fix this more? Now that we've done that, let's go ahead. Now that it's a lot closer to being unified, let's copy this out back to that buffer and see what else. So at the very start here, we can see that first line is the same. We can see we got 26 matches on the second line. Oh, that's funny. I think I forgot to remove. Nope, not that one. The LOTRO points entry there. So that was not a fair test. We were not doing the lookup there. Or rather, we overwrote the lookup with the identical value. Oh, interesting. That's not right. H equals 80 happens there. Okay. Oh, of course, to show these lookups are not correct. That lookup should have been LP, and eventually code and key will be unified, but right now that is code. So we can see the window is now the correct height, and we're going to need to fix that. All right, fixed LOTRO points lookup. Great. Okay, what else do we have? we have a second line here, and we can find identical lines 26 times. Awesome. And then the last one, this is where we're not going to find the same thing. But we could start unifying it to where we can find the same thing. We can see it's almost identical, except for Gondor's central silver piece, which has a wider window, because the text of it is too wide for the standard width. That's fantastic. All right, let's start fixing this. And we can fix the key here at the same time. And then at the end, right. So there's 26 entries that use line 2 and line 3, but one of them also has, or a couple of them, one of them, LOTRO points also has that line 1. Okay, we're going to start with the code to key problem. So we need a function, code to key. It's not here. Settings? No. Code to key. It is in settings. Great. We have a code. We want a key. That's fine. Local currency key equals code to key of to show. And really, what we're going to eventually have is if that exists, if currency key, then things are going to go in there. But for now, what we want to do is all of these get currency tooltips, we want to fix those. So copying out to a buffer to do some real fixes, we're going to go ahead and replace anything for get currency tooltip here with code. That looks good. Except when I said code, I meant key. And let's see how that works. We're coming rapidly up to our 2-hour window here. Whoop, that didn't work. Fantastic. So, while I am sorting out this bug, if you have any last minute questions, comments, concerns, now's a great time to get them into chat so we can look at them before the end of the stream. All right, functions 172. Oh, I called it currency key. That's funny. Well, that's a simpler bug than I was worried. Okay, so loading this back up, we can see Amroth, shard. These are your shard. Badges of taste, all of these, everything looks great. Okay, so that's good. Let's go ahead and commit that before we make anything else. So we're going to local key. I'm not going to bother with this yet, but that's coming. And then the rest of this is great. So, parameterize, not used key in call to get tooltip. Cool. Done with that. What else do we have? We have coming on back in here. You know, I've kind of forgotten what all these were, so we're just going to start over again. Okay. We have 26 lines, that are identical with the first one. 26 lines that are identical with the second one. 26 lines which are identical except for one thing, which is the use of the first line of that tooltip. if you ignore that and have everything else, then we have 26 lines there. So we need an exception for LOTRO points. We need to include that third line. Okay, so if we made this actually more complicated, if all of these lines, if they looked more like if to show equals, and we need that to be LOTRO points. Is it? It'll actually be LP. If to show equals LP, then else what? No, that's not what I meant. End. So we need something like this. We need, oh right, Gondor Central Gondor silver pieces are also different. Central Gondor silver pieces, the main difference is that width. Okay. They do a language specific width, and then they do other changes on top of it. Sure. All right. And the funny thing is, for that, they do it for every language. So but they do it a fixed amount. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and that will go there, but we're not ready for it. Okay, I'm just going to delete that. Okay, so we need a local tooltip window custom width equals that. And for Central Gondor silver pieces, we're going to say that's equal to whatever it was down here. Central Gondor silver pieces equals W plus 30. Great. W plus 30. And then we can say if we don't want to do any other changes, we can just say W equals tooltip window custom width of the to show or W. Replace W with that thing or don't. Cool. And at that point, we should actually be able to come back in to wherever this was and remove that W. Yeah, let's give that a try. Cool. So Central Gondor silver pieces is still wider, just as we wanted it to be, and nothing else is. Okay, great. The last thing was whether we do one or two of those. All right, so we're coming back in. Gondor pieces, we need to replace that with 30, and we need to do the same thing that we were just doing. And that is replacing each of these with that. Okay, so in the yes case, if this is LP, then we need to do that. If it is not LP, then we can just do that. Okay, so in all those cases, when we had this, we want to add L of EIT1. And that one place that we already had it, we can go fix that. Okay. So that's what we can do. We're making it more complicated because now they all share the same form. So this thing, we have 26 regions that if to show equals DP, then we check if to show equals LP. There's 26 regions that do that. Then the next line, if it is, then we do a thing. There's 26 regions that match that. In the next line, there's 26 of those. And so we can actually demonstrate that if we search for that region, oh, we only have 23. So we're still missing some coverage. Oh, hey, Motes of Enchantment does something. Motes of Enchantment has a specific thing to stop this from going off the edge, and none of the rest of them do. Or at least not obviously, and yet they do not go off the edge. Alright, I gotta ask, what's up? Why is Motes of Enchantment always so weird? What did it do to me? Okay, Motes of Enchantment, let's bring that on over. It looks like it behaves the same way. I'm guessing this is code that started there and ended up going somewhere else. So let's take a look. There were two others though. Oh, Ancient Script and Badge of Dishonor also have code that looks like that. Is it identical? Wait. Hang on. That's not what I was seeing. What am I missing? I guess it says, motes are a pain in the ash. Those who remember initial mortar release will get that. Well, I could believe it. What is different here? Okay, so that thing, okay, they all have that same, okay, if not TB top, then Y equals H. Yep, that's there. To show that, show that. Okay, I need to do more investigation, it looks like, into Motes of Enchantment. I'm going to make some notes. Motes of Enchantment. What's up? Motes of Enchantment. Ancient Script. Ancient Script. And Badge of Dishonor. Now I'm hoping what it actually is just white space issues. So we can see at the end of each of these, our cursor doesn't go off the edge. Badge of Dishonor is fine. Oops. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Sure, that's fine. And that's fine. Okay, that is weird. Wait. Now we find 24 of these. Okay, when something like this mystifies me, as this is, then I start to think, hey, what happens if I just take one of these blocks, let's say shards, and make a little file. And so we're just going to go ahead and put that into downloads and call it left-hand side. Yep, we can replace that. And then we're going to take one that is causing a problem. Motes of Enchantment, and put that into the next. And I just have that naming convention because I know I'm going to be comparing using a tool like Beyond Compare, which has a left-hand side and a right-hand side. So I just name it that, and I know what I am looking at. So, fantastic. There's a tab at the end of those lines that I was not capturing. Of course there was. So that means modes of enchantment. If I come on in here, if I find those, oops. Okay, so I can go ahead and fix those. So nope and nope. Oops. And also from Ancient Script, that's nice. And then what was the final one? Badge of Dishonor. Let's see if it was from there. No. Okay. Well, we're going to save that as the right-hand side. Left-hand side, right-hand side. Okay. Interesting. Never mind. Whatever the problem was, it seems to have resolved. And we now have 26 regions that are identical. And that means now we can simplify. So this text is now the same no matter what our to show is. We no longer need to have 26 blocks of it. What we need to do is just have a single block in which we check for the currency. And if we're doing the currency, so if key then end. So at this point, we can go ahead and indent these things. We'll just do them in here. And we'll do this here. If not, be that, then that. If to show equals LP. And more importantly, now that we have keys, we can switch these over to the correct value. So, currency code, we know LP should be LOTRO points. So we're going to go ahead and bring that over. If key equals LOTRO points. And we also know that Central Gondor silver pieces can go ahead and get stored like that. Okay, so we have a single block of code that if key equals LOTRO points, then this. Now, could we do this even more simply? Maybe. I think the reality is this is probably expressible in a single line, especially if we use another table to store some sort of difference. But this is already pretty straightforward. If you could use the multi-value return value of a function here, that could work. For instance, function get tooltip lines key. So if we just said this, return that, and if we then used this, we're going to have too many lines most of the places if it works. Actually, hang on. Let's try it like here. So this is destiny points. We're going to experiment on that again, and we'll experiment on LOTRO points. So right now, that function returns 3 values, but I don't know if we can pass those on to a function in this way. Okay, so boy, it does not. Nope, it did not like that at all. Probably. Okay, so good question. Lua, pass multiple return values as parameter of other function. How do we do that? Okay, someone has a problem. They have a function returning multiple values and another function taking multiple values. Is there a way to do this and have cool, that's what we want. You can't do it in one line because that adjusts the results returned to a single value. That's what I was concerned about. Unpack. Well, that's interesting. Okay, it was unpack. Unpack as a function. Okay, let's do that, or give that a try. Can't assign that, that's fine. And we'll do unpack that. And we're going to return a table of those values. Okay, still is not happy with that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and not worry about that for just a minute. And we are going to get the rest of this working. So, currencies, we're going to go ahead and say else and do the rest of these. So currencies is this, if key, then else will be everything else. Now the reality is a lot of these are also basically identical code, and yes, we can consolidate these more later. But for now, we're going to go ahead and say non-currencies. And we'll do all of those. Okay, let's see if we can get our tooltips back. Awesome. Now, we do see LOTRO points is not high enough, and Gondor silver pieces is not wide enough. So what's going on there? Oh, we are not checking with key here. Perfect. Let's get that fixed. Okay, now LOTRO points is tall enough. Central Gondor pieces gets wider. Both of our exceptions are in play. So, custom height equals that. Custom width equals that. Now, these don't need to be in here, and in fact, maybe they should be outside of the function entirely, but I'm okay storing them in here for right now, especially since you can collapse them down. And we're just going to use that. Because there's only one of each, we could just have a if statement, if key equals whatever. But I just don't really want to be comparing against specific keys. I just want to say, if it's in the exceptions table, use the exception. And this feels like a good way to do that. Okay, so we have the not too far. If TB isn't at the top, then we do something cool. If the TitanBar is not on the top, because you can store it in other places, I think. If the key is LOTRO points, do this, otherwise do that. Awesome. Now, other thing I'm curious about is, what's up with create tooltip window? What do we do here? So we have text 1, text 2, and text 3, which is local text. And for that, in text, do something. Okay, what happens, just out of curiosity, if we pass nil? I bet it doesn't like it. It's okay with that. Is that because... okay, so turbine.shell.writeLine I. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yep. Just 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. So this is resistant to us passing nil values. What does it do if we pass nil here? It does make an entry. It behaves okay, but it's not optimal. Unfortunately, the line they want to add it at the top. Left click to open the options. If it were at the bottom, it would just be hold left click to move the control, right click to open, left click to open the options window. Then we would just equipment infos control. Wow, that is not what I was expecting. We're just reusing that. Okay. Yeah, if we were comfortable breaking the current ordering of things, it'd be so much easier to just have 2, 3, and either 1 or nil. But that is taking advantage of kind of an unwritten rule about how this function works. It would be better just to pass the correct things. So, looking at this, I'm still interested in that pack unpack thing. Now that we've got everything else working, let's go ahead and commit it though. Okay, so consolidated currency tooltip window code. And that's going to be everything, hopefully, that we just looked at. That's going to be getting the key, if we have a key, then doing stuff. We have that stuff. We have the custom with, getting rid of so many currencies. In fact, this doesn't even make sense to try and line up with anything. So we're going to go ahead and line that up down here. We've got custom height, custom width, using the key now instead of the to show. We've got the actual code that we're duplicating, everything that we're deleting, and everything else that is getting indented right now because it's moving around. And then technically that one lines up here, and we have a new end there. Okay, I'm happy with that. So we're going to go ahead and take that. And then we're in a state where we can start playing around. So if local 3 lines equals this table, and local 2 lines equals this table, and then if we unpack 3 lines, and here if we unpack 2 lines, does that do anything useful, or does it break everything? Why not? Why not break? Okay. No, actually that seems to work.
Okay, so we were doing something else weird with our functionality. That looks like it works. And if that's the case, could we do something different where we have local tooltip window custom lines equals, and here we go ahead and say LOTRO points equals, and that's going to be 3 lines over here. And then otherwise we have local lines equals tooltip window custom lines of key or this table here. So what we want to do with that then is just pass lines off to unpack. Unpack lines one way or the other. Let's check that out. Okay, so we got 2 lines. Gunner silver pieces is still wider. We've got LOTRO points, which is 3 lines and is taller. That's looking pretty good. So that means we can come in here and notice that these lines are identical. If it's LOTRO points, do one thing. If it's not LOTRO points, do an identical thing. That means we can delete stuff. I love deleting things. And we have a final functionality here, which is just this. And notice that when we circle back around to non-currency work, there's a lot of similar code here. We have some custom heights. I don't even see any custom widths. And there looks like there's custom lines as well. This is going to be really straightforward to just have a single block of code that can handle all of this. But for now, we're just working about currencies. We can extend this to more genericization later. So we have tooltip window custom lines, LOTRO points, that lines equals this, or just those 2 and 3, and then window equals create in those places with the tooltip for the key and the unpack of those lines. Awesome. Neat. Well, that's a pretty cool hover over. Okay, so let's go ahead and one last time, let's go ahead and test it just to make sure we didn't miss anything. My friend has gone offline. Awesome. Everything still looks good. And we're going to come into source control here and say simplified code to customize number of lines in tooltip window. Now really, which lines appear in tooltip window. And just to look at that side by side here, we can see we have a custom lines entry here. We had a block of if else here. And we can see here that we're passing an unpack of the lines that we want into a single invocation. Oh, that's beautiful. I love being able to delete stuff to make things simpler, as long as we keep it correct. Okay, 16 different commits today. Nice. Very productive. Okay, so we came in here because the TitanBar maintenance document said, for each point, search through the files, and every time the existing currency are listed, add the new currency. That is just ripe for missing something. However, we came in here and we did that. So we found LP and we did something. We can see we're not done yet. Functions in here can be so much better. And so what we want to do is, on a future time, we're going to do something very similar. In a block like this, else, we're going to go through and then if we are a currency, we have this string. We can just look this up in the global window. This is essentially G of DP, right? And that's the kind of the substitute we are going to do in a block like this. If it's DP, then go to the DP entry. If it's SP, then go to the SP entry of the global table. And so we're going to be able to go ahead and isolate all the currencies, reduce them down to, if it's a currency, then just a single call. And again, eventually this is all of the calls. But for right now, we're just going to be addressing the currencies so that
eventually this functions file is not, doesn't have anything specific to a currency. That's the goal. That's the hope. That's the dream. But we can see there is still stuff here. If show wallet, if show money, any place where we have a parameterized show, we're going to consolidate. We're going to reduce down to a single entry. And I'm guessing that's not the only place. Look at all of this. Again, anytime we do this consolidation, we're going to have to check for exceptions. We're going to have to compare, are each of these going to the same, having the same values that they're passing to parameters? And in most of the cases, the answer is going to be yes. And when it's no, we're going to just consolidate those exceptions into a lookup table instead of having to hard code it. And in general, custom currencies that we're supporting, arbitrary currencies from the wallet, not going to be a problem. But specific ones like LOTRO points, sometimes they're exceptions, it's fine, we'll account for that. So that's a future thing. Now, coming up on the calendar, LOTRO 2024 events calendar. That's the public event schedule over here on the LOTRO site. We are coming up on Treebeard level cap being raised tomorrow, if all goes according to plans. If it does, I expect it will happen during the maintenance. So you have a few hours before they start the maintenance if you want to get any last minute delvings in or something that requires you to be at level cap. After it comes back after maintenance, assuming they're doing maintenance tomorrow, I haven't actually checked, then I would expect Treebeard's level cap will have gone up as well, and we'll have access to Western Gondor, Eastern Gondor, Central Gondor, and Old Anorian. Also coming up this week, Hobnanigans. It will start on Thursday, but it only runs until Monday. So I'm going to do some Festival Buddy stuff with Hobnanigans offline. And then next week, on the 6th, which is Thursday, we are starting with the Midsummer Festival. So I'm anxious to get as much TitanBar done as I can so that if there's Midsummer stuff to do with Festival Buddy, I am clear to do that. Also, on my personal calendar, I'm going to be working on updating Deed Tracker, but that's a lot more boring to do on screen. So I'll probably be doing that in the background. So lots of stuff happening with lots of interesting plugins. Excellent. Okay. TitanBar maintenance document. This is a laughable statement. Duriel, I know you did your, probably what I hope was your best, but just saying find the things instead of listing like what functions we should expect to find them in, maddening. So we're going to make this better. Okay. Neat. So, all that being said, I think that is everything we are going to cover today. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of LOTRO plugins. I do hope to see you here next week. And until then, keep plugging along. All right, bye-bye now.